Now, protesters also set up rail blockades today just north of Toronto. The 200 or so Wet'suwet'en supporters halted train traffic to Hamilton, London, New York and Michigan. The CBC's Magda Gabriselassie has more.
Side by side, they came in droves, taking to the rail tracks, all in the name of Wet'suwet'en solidarity and the fight to put a stop to a pipeline.
What Canada is doing is totally unlawful, and they're violating their right to live and the right to survive and the sovereign right up to their lands and their culture.
This group started with one blockade right here on this major rail line in Vaughan. We were told that at one point there were about 200 people on the other side there holding up signs and setting up fire pits on the tracks. Some of those people then moved down about a kilometer east to set up a second blockade. Organizers say they've halted train traffic heading as far west as Michigan and northwest towards BC and even Wisconsin. Last weekend's blockade at DuPont and Dufferin halted freight and passenger trains for several hours. And this group says it's only the beginning.
There will be actions popping up all over as long as the Wet'suwet'en people are under threat by the RCMP.
Magda Gabriselassie, CBC News, Vaughan.
I was born on stolen land.
Dozens of protesters gathered outside PEI's legislature in Charlottetown to show their solidarity with the pipeline protesters in BC. The demonstrators included a number of Mi'kmaq people from across the Atlantic region. Many carried signs critical of police and the environmental impact of the pipeline project. Now, Catherine Hensel is a Toronto-based Indigenous lawyer from the Secwepemc First Nation. We reached her earlier today while she was in Jamaica. She says reaching a resolution with protesting First Nations can still be accomplished, but it will take a great deal of work.
What we see across the country, including in Tyendinaga territory, is people really putting their bodies on the line in solidarity with the people of Wet'suwet'en to express their concern that Canada really isn't taking their concerns, their priorities, what they hold sacred, seriously. I don't want to underplay the significance of the inconvenience. There's significant inconvenience, significant financial cost to all of this. Pales from the perspective of many Indigenous peoples compared to what's at stake for our nations, for our territories, for our ancestors, and for our children. For a country to operate in stability and prosperity and peace, which Canada does a very good job for all but the Indigenous folks, you really have to prioritize what people hold sacred. And Canada does that for non-Indigenous Canadians. What the Wet'suwet'en people are telling Canada and Tyendinaga in support is that we hold these things precious and sacred, and there has to be institutionally, systemically, culturally, legally, some weight placed on the fact that these are inviolable priorities for us. I have to say, to quote somebody I admire greatly, Jesse Wente, we do not have the luxury of giving up hope. It's not an option for us or for our children. What needs to happen is really, Indigenous people in Canada have been extending our hands more than halfway. Canada has to meet us there to hear what our priorities are and really to go back to what is sacred and place some weight on that, some actual weight on that. There has been progress made with respect to inherent jurisdiction, child well-being, apologies, but there's so much further that we have to go to make reconciliation a realistic possibility. We are nowhere near there yet.